Hello everyone, it is Dana here. I thought I'd jump on before we launch into this episode just to give you a bit of a heads up about what to expect. We have the great privilege of speaking with Golam Moula, who's from India, and the conversation we have is absolutely fantastic, particularly from the perspective of implementing evidence-based interventions in low-middle income countries. This is such an important area and a topic that we all need to be really aware of because health equity is a massive focus for so many clinicians and researchers and policymakers. And I think there's so much we can learn from this. But the reason why I'm coming on here first is just to let you know that, sometimes recording standards can be a little bit more difficult to attain, particularly when internet connections come into play. Now, Golam worked really hard with us to find the best internet connection as possible, but it is still a little bit patchy. And so it's not our usual standard, not from a lack of trying, but purely from the perspective of the fact that what is available in India and where Golam is based in has some limitations. But we really didn't want to make that a reason why we couldn't release this episode. So you may need to listen to this with headphones. It might be a little bit easier to hear what he's saying. You can hear birds chirping in the background because it's an open space. You can hear a little bit of traffic from time to time. And you can also hear a fan because it's quite hot. So we did everything we could for it. And it won't be the same quality as you can often hear my voice right now, which is in the studio. But again, it's just so important that we can highlight work that's done in other countries. The reason why we really love this is because the impact they have made from implementing early detection for cerebral palsy in villages that are really remote areas has had such a significant impact over the past few years. It's the reason why we do research is to implement it, right? And so he uses the consolidated framework of implementation research, or the CIFA, to implement this idea of early detection. And the results are truly remarkable. And I walked away from this thinking, how can we do this better? Not only in our own country, but in other countries that I'm working alongside, like in Southeast Asia. So there's so many great take-homes here. But again, I just really wanted to preface the fact that it might be a bit hard to listen to this in the car, in the stereo, because of the internet connection. And if you use headphones, it's definitely very easy to hear what he is saying. So I hope you do enjoy this episode. We really hope that you can have a lot of takeaways just like we did as well. So thank you for tuning in, and we'll talk to you all again really soon. Bye. Welcome to the Research Works podcast, brought to you in association with the Healthy Strides Foundation. Your hosts are Dr. Dana Poole
and Dr. Ashley Thornton, and we're here to interview world-leading researchers, clinicians, and people with lived experience
to support your practice in being more evidence-based.
Hello, everyone. It's great to be back here on the pod this week. Welcome, Dana.
Welcome. Yeah, it's good to be here again.
Yeah, we hope everyone enjoyed our Oz ACPDM conference series. We had so much fun recording that.
We really did. It was so good to do that together. I loved it.
Yeah, and there's a whole host of episodes that you can access from the conference in the podcast library now, but there's even some additional special episodes as well, isn't there?
Yes, definitely go check them out. As many of you guys would have heard, the opening keynote was with Hannah Divany. So the extended version is
we had
now
such
out.
a great chat.
It was so good. So we could only record about 35 minutes, I think, for the conference, but we definitely talked for nearly an hour. So it was a great conversation. Definitely head back to that. So enjoy that. And they're all up on YouTube now as well. So if you really want to watch us,
an extensive back catalogue there for you as well.
You can go for that too.
But at the conference, at Oz ACPDM, we heard a lot about the new and recent developments in low to middle income countries. And we talked about that in our wrap up from the conference. And I think that was a really exciting space that we heard a lot about. And this is so important, especially when we are talking about health equity, which is another really strong theme from the conference as well.
Yep.
So we have one of the many brilliant researchers and authors that presented their work in low and middle income countries at the conference, Golam Moula from the Asha Bhavan Centre. Welcome, Golam.
Welcome.
Nice to having with me. Thank you.
Oh, we're so grateful for your time today, Golam, especially the fact that you are joining us from India and the time difference that we have managed to negotiate to record with you today. So thank you.
Good. Well, we can hear the birds chirping in the background. It sounds nice.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it does.
Very tranquil. For our listeners, Golam works in the field of rehabilitation for children with cerebral palsy. currently working on a national level Indian organisation, the Asha Bhavan Centre. He manages the LEAP CP randomised control trial of early intervention for infants with cerebral palsy in collaboration with the University of Queensland, and is managing the ongoing implementation of the LEAP CP program.
Very cool.
Very cool. And we're going to get into all of that in the podcast today, Golam. But before we do that, we always like to start our podcast with a bit of an icebreaker and a getting to know you question. So that's the more informal part of us learning about you today. And the question today was inspired, I suppose, by our time at the conference, because while we were in Cairns, the Olympics had just started. And I don't know about you, Dana, but around all of our busy conference schedule, I was trying to catch as much of the Olympics as I could.
Absolutely.
And so it got me thinking, Golam, if you could compete in any Olympic sport, let's say that talent was not an issue.
Okay.
If you could compete in any Olympic sport, what sport would you choose?
It's nice. I would like to introduce a new event from Bollywood singing and dancing Olympic. And I would like to participate in Bollywood singing. India's famous. India's famous for its Bollywood song and Bollywood dances.
Bollywood.
I love that.
I would take a part of this.
Maybe you could campaign for that to be in the next Olympics.
It's true.
Next Olympics. Yeah. So it should be a great event to introduce our India, our Bollywood and our Indian dance and culture. It's very vibrant and colourful.
Oh, that would be such a fun event.
I think that would be great. That's such a good idea. I mean, dancing,
anything's possible, right?
It was already in there. So
Anything possible.
Oh, gosh. I don't think I can beat that. That's so good. I didn't think outside the box for this one because I was thinking, look, I'd love to be able to... I love the bravery of divers just jumping off a platform and diving. I think that's really cool. I've got no skill or ability whatsoever.
That's okay.
So I think that could be really cool. Yeah. But then I look at the marathon runners and you realise how fast they're going. And when I go for runs, I think I am just so fast. But I'm really not. So compared to what they do, I would love the
marathon runners
feeling.
are incredible.
Insane.
Olympic level marathon runners. The way
I love the distinction there. That's great.
My sprint is still slower than the pace that they run a marathon at for 42 kilometres. It's incredible.
That's the part. I think how amazing that would feel like to run that fast for that long. You would literally have wind going through your hair.
I've never had that when I run.
So that would be mine. But what about you? I mean, you have a sporting background. Have you gone back to your roots there?
Look, there was always a part of me. I was a hockey player growing up, Golam, and so there's a part of me that would have...
Great.
Yes. And there's a part of me that...
They say India great the bronze, I think.
Yes.
So the good hockey.
Yes, incredible. I feel like you might be rubbing that in a little bit, but okay.
True, yes.
So there's a part of me that would have loved to have competed at the Olympic level as a hockey player.
Oh, cool.
But the other thing that I was really inspired by were the gymnasts.
Yes.
And to be able to do probably similar to the diving, to be able to do some of the things that those gymnasts can do. They're so powerful and so graceful at the same time. It's pretty
cool.
incredible.
Yeah. That was my other one as well. I just love the idea of being able to do a pull-up.
And if I could have one more, it would be the 100-metre sprint. Because everyone watches that, right? It's like the pinnacle of the Olympics.
Yep, they did. Yeah.
And but then it's over in 10 seconds.
Yeah,
so I think,
that's a good one. I actually did wake up for that. I set my alarm for 3:40 a.m., got up, watched it. The whole build up to it was much longer than the actual race itself.
Yeah.
It was brilliant. Yeah, good one. Love the Olympics. Yeah.
Great.
But I agree with you, Golam. I do think Bollywood, there should be someone advocating for that at the next Olympics. Because anything is possible.
Anything is possible.
Well, talk about anything is possible. Let's talk about today's research because I feel like that's kind of a bit of a theme too. Yeah. So let me give everyone a bit of a rundown of what we hope to talk about today. So LEAP CP stands for Learning Through Everyday Activities with Parents, an early detection and intervention program that adapts the International Clinical Practice Guideline for early detection and intervention in CP for low and middle income countries. In this paper, LEAP CP was tested in an RCT at the Asha Bhavan Centre in India from 2019 to 2021 and was then continued in its implementation since 2021. So this study aimed to determine the acceptability, appropriateness, feasibility, penetration, retention and fidelity of LEAP CP at the Asha Bhavan Centre in India.
Yeah.
Golam, this is so exciting because I think often, research studies come and go and it's not always that you see those lasting effects of an implementation program. So obviously, the key ingredients for this were right for the work that you were doing, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in a moment. But let's start by explaining to everyone a bit more about the LEAP CP program. Can you tell everyone what the program involves?
So first, the name is LEAP CP, is Learning Through Everyday Activity. We put this name because in low middle income country like India, so people are very busy for their basic survival needs. So food, shelter, and clothes.
Right.
So mains are going every day, the early morning to the late night for work somewhere, daily laborers and some skilled work. And women are busy for their household activity. So it is very difficult to manage a time for a child with cerebral palsy to take care in a home. So what we LEAP CP most interesting thing that we merge the activity with their mother's activities, what they're doing. So they take the baby when they're cooking. So what to do when they're cooking inside the home. Because in India, the women are hours spent for cooking and cleaning the home and doing this work and this work. So the hour is embedded in their daily activity life so that they don't have the extra burden to take care of the child with cerebral palsy in other time. So that is the fantastic of the work. And it is, you can say, it's developed for their child. Basically, what is LEAP CP? Early we were working in Asha Bhavan Centre and going through it also. That children with cerebral palsy are diagnosed very late, say 4 to 6 years at the age. So we miss the very crucial early developmental period, 0 to 3 years. So basically what we do, we are able to screen and identify the high risk of cerebral palsy baby in very early age when they are going in the mother's lap. And we promote the intervention program in the very beginning. And that is the fantastic work we started in LEAP CP. It's a very new approach and very appreciated and good to have acceptance in the community. And mothers are very, very much involved in this activity.
That's great. I mean, that's all the main principles, isn't it, of trying to find opportunities throughout the day and contextualized. How you spoke about that, it's so beautiful in the sense that throughout the day, there's such limited opportunity to do something on top of everyday requirements of making sure you've got food and you have a job to go to. All the big challenges are more amplified. But I like how you've incorporated therapy into cooking, something that people would do every day. It's finding opportunities.
Yeah. So when the mother play with the child, how to play, just LEAP CP introduce how to just modify the play model, game-based activity. To introduce the home-based home enrichment environment, the toys used from the home materials. So that is we do with LEAP CP.
That's fantastic.
And one middle income country, it is basically still it is a model of medical approaches. The mother health, mental health is still in community. The mother blame from when the child with disability. The community, the whole community says you are doing some sin in the past life, your karma. You have a karma, so you got this baby. So community, even the family members also blame the mother, and mother mental health are very stressful. Many they are isolated from the mainstream, from the family. They don't go anywhere from the home and outside. So we have a module to understand level of the mother, what is the cerebral palsy, why it's happened with the child. We work with the family, we work with the community to breaking the myths of cerebral palsy, not only cerebral palsy and disability. That is accidents can happen with anyone. So this is not a karma or some sins in the past life. So it can happen with anyone. So mother are stressful condition. So we try with this program also to keep the mother mental health in good condition so that he can smile, he can go outside, he can be involved with other activity, travel activity. They basically, if as a child with cerebral palsy, parents, especially mother, is not go any marriage, any function, anywhere from the house. They always still stay with the child and baby, and that is his life. And every day they have many mental stress. Some mothers need to medical mental health doctor advice also. So through this CP, from the very beginning, prepare the mother that this is not your fault, it's the condition. So what can we do? What is the consequence of the cerebral palsy, and what is the intervention we can introduce? So that is a wonderful way that we not only work for physical development of cerebral palsy child, we always development a community, a family that everybody can accept the disability and go forward.
Yeah. That's fantastic. And I think it's, there's obviously the context in which LEAP CP was originally developed is very different to the context that you are implementing it. So what do you think the biggest modifications you've had to make to LEAP CP would be for your context?
So biggest modification we made that in our country, if you do some program with isolation, so if LEAP CP is go in the community, only the LEAP CP, so it will not entirely, or we cannot reach cover so very large population in our country. We are working in 1.2 million population and 384 villages.
Wow.
So it is very difficult to find out this baby from. So what we do, we make modification that we involve the already community worker, government community, lay health worker. They are basically, we can say, accelerated health worker. In every village, this kind of worker will look after only the pregnant woman and their delivery. So we introduce this health worker in our activity. We make them just a small training. What is the high risk pregnancy? What is the risk factor of cerebral palsy? So now we have trained more than 1,300 this kind of worker in the community, and now this worker is moving here and there. So just they have a referral service. When they get any cases of high risk of cerebral palsy, they just call us. But in this village, there is a baby. Can you check him?
Yes.
So now we have 10 people in our team. So our people go for screening for either GMA or high. So we make this baby. So 3 years, we reach around 1,200 babies in our screening process. And around 20% we get high risk of cerebral palsy. So that is not an actual LEAP CP model to take the other programs inside this screening process. We introduces this program. So as developing country like India or other country, if you go such a high dense population country where the expenses is funding opportunity is very limited, the existing health infrastructure is very limited. So you have to be input whatever existing facility we have and incorporate your program so that it can be implemented nicely and it can reach more people.
That is such an inspiring number,
isn't it?
To be able to implement that. And like you said at the beginning, Ash, like we often do see a lot of this research. The purpose of it is to hopefully embed it in a place to make a difference.
Yes.
And I feel like through this, you've implemented this, but also have adapted it for the local context, which is early detection.
Critical,
context.
Yeah, that's right. And what that means is you're now able to provide that early intervention. So, it's really quite incredible. Gosh, congratulations on that and your whole team.
And thank you. And it's a step to sustainability also. If it's project based, always the everything is funding based. We are working. So if someday we are stop our funding, but the community people, the worker is ready to scheme the high risk of death. And especially nowadays, low and middle income country, the locomotor disability, most contributions come from poliomyelitis, post-polio paralysis.
Wow.
So nowadays we are eradicated the polio. Nowadays we eradicated the polio. Almost we don't have polio cases in India. But somehow the cerebral palsy cases has increased.
Okay.
So as a result, I can say that we have a national rural health mission. Through this mission, we have lots of hospitals, NICU, ICU set up for the babies in remote areas.
Yeah.
So child mortality rate is decreased in India. If you go past years, now we find the child mortality rate is decreased. The government policy to decrease. But when the child having in a NICU or SNCU for 1 week, some regions, many parents don't know what is the reasons. So when they left out from the hospital, they go with the lesion in a brain injury, but there's no mechanism to follow up this child. So consequence of this led to cerebral palsy or intellectual disability children. So we're finding more and more cerebral palsy and intellectual disability. So in these cases, LIPCP, early intervention program, is very important to detect this baby and make their life more comfortable.
Yeah. And I guess I just want to reflect on that a little bit because you gave us so many great pieces of information there, but you've thought about this program thinks about the entire family unit, really emphasizing the mental health of the mother, those real, the karma-driven, this has happened to you because of all of that, which we hear about frequently still, but less so nowadays, definitely in countries like Australia, but still, you still hear about it.
Yes, you do.
And then you've also then included, like in just terms of the child, the parents, family, then you've gone to the community to involve the villages.
Community.
It's just so multifaceted. I'm really interested to understand how long did it take to implement all that training to all of those health workers into those villages as well? I think you quoted, in terms of the numbers, it's 1.2 million residents, 342 villages, and you trained 1,312 antenatal workers.
Yeah.
How long did that take?
That's a lot of work.
It is,
it's a lot of work. Sometimes we visited, it's a little bit bureaucracy also in India. So you have to be motivated, the bureaucrat people a little bit, and we have lots of political influence in them. So if you have some kind of government and some prize for the political leaders, some congratulations, you invited the political leader to influence them, the community stakeholder in your program. Then if they are agree to participate in your program, then it is easy to access the community health worker or some people. So either their permission, especially leaders or bureaucrats officials, it's difficult to organize any training program.
Wow.
So just what are first step to sensitize these key persons in our program. So we are talking with these people, chatting with study sessions, and they're motivated. It's a good work, so we can help you. So what kind of help you? I suggest you can help organize a training program for your group of community workers. So, that's not a problem. So we just make a venue, we arrange 50, 60 community health workers for 1 day, we get them and we just train them. This is the process. And it's take around first 1 year, we started just training, sensitization in the community to prepare the community ready to take our program. When you understand this program is ready to take up, then we started initiated the program of LIPCP. So 1 year is the preparation year to prepare the community. Otherwise, make the acceptance. Otherwise, it's not work if the community not acceptance. Because still in India, mother wants for their baby to be good, but with patriarchy, lots of patriarchy.
Mm-hmm.
So if the family member, father or grandfather say, no, it's not good for our child. So you cannot access this house, this society.
Wow.
Yeah.
Even some community leaders and village political leaders say, why you are here for working? So we cannot go to this place to this body.
Wow.
So first of all, we need to sensitize these key persons in the community, and then we embed the program.
I see.
Yeah. So it's not just a matter
factors.
of going to a community and delivering training to the healthcare workers, and then you can move on to the next community and do the same. You actually have to spend a significant amount of time preparing the community to accept this program of work.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yes. Make that. And especially the key ingredients, key people of the community have to focus on them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they hold the powers and authority in the community. So, so their words are very important in our country, our culture.
I see. And
until they don't believe your program, you cannot implement any program in the community.
Wow. So there's this whole layer of political policy that comes over it. You know, sometimes you often think you have the political powers, but if you want to bypass it, you'd have a not-for-profit and you'd work separately almost.
Yeah.
But then the problem with doing that is that you actually need funding and people to approve it and endorse it. So you actually need all of these people to come together. I suppose this takes us to your framework, because you implemented a well-known framework, which I'm learning a lot about lately. So I'm lovely to talk to you about it. But you wanted to measure how this was implemented using what's called the CIFA, the Consolidated Framework for Implementation Research. So it's just a really structured way to look at implementation. Can you talk us through that? I know it's quite, it's quite detailed, but in a bit of a nutshell, how would you describe the use of a model or a framework like this in your context in India? I'm quite interested in how you used it.
So first, we started the program with Queensland University. Captain Benford is approached to us to our city's model in India. And we find that this is a very interesting program because I told that the service for the very young baby is unavailable in our society, in the hospital, nobody is providing. So we were interested and we joined this program. And after this program, it is we get the great success of this program. And then COVID period started, so we paused everything.
Okay.
So that is very difficult. So India is a big country and to get completely locked down for whole years. It's jeopardy in our life. We are changing. It seems it's very, very difficult for many people have died. And so this time it was not the priority of life. So it's just saving life.
Yep.
So after this finished, we contact a touch with the university. So after finish this research, our city, we are finding this program how to implement in the community. So in this situation, we get some donors. Now, as an organization, we pay some donation from various country and various people. We approaches this model where we can change the life of children and the family, and we approach to our existing donors in European countries, and they feel this is interesting to make the continuation of the program. So we get funded for 3 years, so 21, 22, 23, 24.
Okay. 4 years.
And then we continue this program with City, but technically, the university is joining with us. They provide the manual, the books, which we implement, love, learn, go, how to love the child, because in society, when love is very important for the mothers, the family, and the child. When a child having cerebral palsy, the parents either overprotected or neglected. Basically, they neglected the child, and they are going for the second babies. So we introduce the love with the child, how to love and play with the child, and we introduce grow, how to grow, because malnutrition is a very critical cases in India also for the dysphagia, cerebral palsy child with dysphagia, lots of malnutrition. So we just introduce basic, simple food preparation. What is the nutrition food? Just put like you are taking rice, where every day we eat rice. rice and aloo potato rice. So just put a spoon of butter or something. A small banana can be change your nutritionist level. So we introduce grow modules and play modules. So this is the modules we introduce with the family. We have a visit in 10-15 days, fortnight visit to the community. So we have community disability workers. They visit the community. They work with the mother with the modules, and everything will be recorded also in the video, because then we are discussed in the office fortnight visit with our expert professional, physiotherapist, occupational therapist, what the program is going on, taking the goals, and then review the goals every 3 months after, make the baseline assessment, and the final assessment, and what we do, the LIPCP is also, I just need to be expressed this. This is the 2 years program. You can find the manuscript. So this is the 2 years program, LIPCP.
Yeah. Wow.
So in your community, you cannot just leave a child in 2 years old. That your child is reached 2 years. I will stop coming to your home.
No.
It won't be possible. So what we make, this implementation program, we keep it 1 year transitional phase.
Okay.
So in this 2 to 3 years, we select the baby because some baby need more further intervention program, therapeutic program, or some kind of medical program, medical intervention. So then we linkage this baby with the existing program, government hospital, or some NGOs who provide therapeutic service to the children with cerebral palsy. We introduce for their government schemes. We have some pension schemes, some disability facility, identification card, disability certificate. So just we make this 1 year, channelize this baby to existing program, and then slowly we fade out from this program of the baby.
Wow.
And then the baby comes.
That's incredible.
It really is, isn't it? And over the course of really relatively short period of time to instigate that kind of change on such a large level that makes such a significant impact on the future of that child and that family.
Yeah. It's
because if you go just the RCT model, follow the RCT guidelines completely, just the 2 years and 15 visits, and fortnight visits, we have to stop this program. Then the acceptance in the community will be not socially accepted, this kind of approach. So you have to be just thought about the future of the child in your mind, your context of program. So just be embedded with this child, what is the future they can be going to. Because it's difficult for a mother having to, someone is coming for 2 years or 3 years, then suddenly he's fed out and finish this program. So we are doing this work also to merge the children in community.
And when I think about all that you've described there, and yes, this is very contextualized for India, low middle income country, I just think of how it translates right back again, because there are so many learnings from that. You know, even if you're living in a place like Australia, even no matter where you are, wherever you live, there's still a child that you want to help families to love their child. And it's just those parental and child relationships. They're the same, aren't they?
Yes. Yeah. It's about nurturing the relationships. And like you talked about right back at the start, Golam, you know, not having the work that you're doing to nurture those relationships be a burden for the family. So it's incorporated into their everyday life.
It is,
And, you know, you talk to the families and learn about what they do and the rhythms of their family, and you try to bring that into the work that you're doing for the benefit of this child as much as possible.
And that brings it right back down to the most important component. It really does, because sometimes we can live in a land where there's just so many distractions and so many things to look at and appointments to go to. But really, we wanted our role as health professionals as well as also to help to make sure families spend time with each other and nurture that opportunity.
It's very important.
So I feel like that translates. And even as you're talking about the 3 years and you don't want the program just to finish and then that's be it. I think about how when pediatric services often finish, there's this hard line where they finish and they go into adult services. And sometimes there's nothing in adult services. So we need to think bigger about what
No.
we need to do to support people.
Yeah.
It's very similar, isn't it, Golam?
Yeah. Yeah, very similar. Because in India, the pediatric support, adult support is not such kind of variety we have. We just one kind of support, same people is going everywhere. So, it's, and the more thing what you say, that the bondage of love with the family, to understand the child problem, to understand acceptance in the community, to understand in between yourself is very, very important point. So in this context of society, for such a thing, if you go, many parents don't understand what cerebral palsy, why my child is not sitting, why my child's head is not controlling. So when they travel in a bus, for example, they travel in a bus or train some places with the babies. So it's a 1-year-old cerebral palsy baby. He don't have head control and sitting with his mother lap. So sometimes the neighbors sitting passengers ask, what happened to your baby? Why is not like so big? So mother cannot say them what happened.
Yes.
So then the people say, she's mad. She's mad. So this is the concept of the madness. Is not something different. People from another planet. It's what happened. The community slowly is going to the mind of the community, other people. This is a mad people. So moving around separate from these people. So mother get more frustrated, more more
devastating.
The child is increasing. So deep CP, we have modules to understand the mother. What is the problem? What is cerebral palsy? Just you understand. It takes lots of time to understand the cerebral palsy. When they understand, they can be explained to the people. My child has this kind of problem. I am with this problem going on. So it is also a very important, crucial ingredient in our LIPCP intervention.
That's amazing.
To make parents, mother understand about the child, and then bondage with love, and then go for the further activity.
So great.
Love that. And Golam, acknowledging that this is a program that is ongoing and, is even probably more far-reaching now than it was within the study. I think we can talk about and celebrate the results of this implementation study, because that was really the starting of the program in India, and everything has been built off that. So we talked earlier, 6 geographical regions, 1.2 million residents, 342 villages that have had awareness raised for LEAP CP. You trained over 1,000 antenatal workers to identify risk factors for CP. High risk CP. Can you tell us a little bit about, I suppose, what we would refer to in the framework as penetration? So how many babies did you have referred as being high risk of CP and then screened after that?
So till now, we screened up to the March 1,198 babies of the high-risk pregnancy. Among them, we screened 907 babies with a high 45.8% from GM and 54 from high-risk screening.
Wow.
And remaining is underage. They are ongoing in our process. And we screen 75% of this baby, which we identified of high-risk cerebral palsy. And among 907, we had we get this referral maximum from these antenatal workers, and 20 around the number is 90% is selected baby in our program. Who is continuing our program. 10% of the selected baby is not involved in this program, because still in our mind, in community, the approach medical model preference. They thought that they have some cure from medicine or injection or somewhere. So they don't believe in therapeutic approaches. So that is the causes of 10% is excluded from our program. Still, we know they have cerebral palsy.
Okay.
So we try to motivate the parents and the family, but some kind of biasness for them. So we cannot force someone to include our program. But we know that because we are working in the community since very long years. So I know that some 6 months or 1 year after they come back to us and say,
okay,
we don't have the cure for medicine. But it is our unfortunately we can do nothing in this time with this family because they don't believe in our model.
Yeah.
So we cover that is the result.
I think
98 9 yeah.
I think it's pretty incredible that
108 from 907 screening from high NGM, we get 185 positive cerebral palsy, high risk of cerebral palsy.
Risk of cerebral palsy. And I think, the fact that you were able to identify almost 200 babies as being at risk of cerebral palsy, and then of those babies, 90% of those families chose to enroll in an intervention program. I think
the program. Program. Yeah. Yes.
When you think about what your baseline was, where there was no, you had all those layers of political and social stigma to work through to get to that point, I think, that's should be celebrated. It's a real achievement.
Yeah, that's just amazing.
Absolutely. It is a great approach and involvement that 90% of 90.12% is retained in our program and they are continuing. So it's a great achievement in our Live Speed program.
So much to celebrate.
Supported this work.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Golam, I imagine, all of this work, you have learnt so much and you've shared a lot of your learnings with us today, but we'd really like to finish with, I suppose, for people who want to implement evidence-based approaches in low and middle income countries, what advice would you have for them as they start on that journey?
First, I advise that every researcher and clinician who is listening to this, every research should be implemented ground level. And when you are in papers and when you are going to practical, little difference you will find with paper and practical. So when you give an RCT, you have a fixed number of time, fixed sample size, you have a fixed curriculum of the RCT. But when real life approaches is kind of different. So when you go low and middle income country, you have to be considered the whole holistic approach of this implementation program. You should not be separated just to implement my program and I don't consider any other thing. Because in people in low and middle income country, basically they have poverty, education and awareness. Three main causes you find everywhere. They have poverty, so you have to consider that you have to, if you can do nothing, just listen to what the problem is for the poverty. But what is their problem? What their education? How can you make educated easily to the mother and awareness in the community? So you have to consider all these things together, and then you go approach to your program in the community and it mostly everything existing, use the existing infrastructure to help them, and community involvement is very crucial, very important. Otherwise, this will not work in anywhere.
Yeah, that's such great practical advice, Golam. Like,
not just for implementation in low and middle income countries. I feel like your advice around listening, and really, taking the time to understand the context and the problem or the issues that you're trying to work with people to change gets you a long way.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's such a waste of resource. And it's even more pertinent in a low-income country, yes. But if you've got grants or you've got government funding, doesn't matter where you are. If you're not listening to what's needed, you're still going to develop something that could be wasted. And what I'm hearing from you, Golam, is like, we just make sure you design the study with people at heart and implement it within that local context. And then we can just get to the point.
Local context. Because if you find there is a mother many mother in the community that you find they're in a daily labor, work in the agricultural field, and if you go in it, if you tell her come in my program in 10 a.m. So 10 a.m. is not suitable for his program to appropriate. So you have to be adjust your time, your context to hard time.
Yes.
Hard because we cannot provide. This is the way there because people need food, shelter, and clothes first, basic survival need. Then the child. So we cannot ignore anyhow their needs. It's still India. The average income for the poor is less than $2. So it's very difficult life situation. So they're struggling to fight their survival. Yeah. So you have to support their survival. You have to listen what their problems are, and then you implement this thing. Yeah. So this kind of what is the name is started with everyday activity. So you have to understand that everyday activity and embedding your clinical research, your trials with their activity.
Yeah. That's the perfect
so that
summary.
You can get a good result.
That's a perfect summary. And what a way to finish off there, Golam. Like that's a very clear message to everyone, isn't it? Yeah.
I think so.
Well, thank you, Golam, so much for your time today. We have absolutely enjoyed speaking to you about implementation research, and it's something we're both really passionate about. Like we're going to do research for a good reason, and this is a really good reason. So, look, we're going to put some links on our website. We really encourage everyone to take a look at some of this work as well and all the groundwork around it. So head to researchworks.net. And of course, there's a CPD form there that you can fill out as well to keep this as part of a record of your PD requirements. But for now, we will say goodbye.
Yes, thank you, Golam. It was such a pleasure to talk with you today.
Thank you.
It was lovely. Thank you. All right, to all of our listeners, we'll talk to you all again really soon. Bye.
Bye.